Test 1, 2. All right, let's see. That's showing. It's coming up. All right, guys, we're working out the sound real quick to see what we can do.
Here we go.
Am I coming through now?
Yeah. Yep, we're good.
All I do is reset it. That's weird. I good. All right. Let's see. Still an echo or what?
I lost you now. I lost you again.
What's going on with this?
Hold on.
Am I coming back through now?
Okay, I hear you now.
Did you pay the bill?
Well, no, we did. It should be fine. Well, something.
All right. You still hear me over there? Or no?
Yeah, I got you now. I think we're good.
Damn, I had your entire camera too, didn't I? All right, guys, give us 1 second. We will, as long as everything sounds good, I'm waiting for her to tell me when we're good. That could be all night long.
It's always we.
What?
I'd love to have one show where we don't have audio issues at the beginning.
Talk to JC about that. I'll tell you how every week we had
all right.
shit.
I think we're pretty good now. We're getting the thumbs up, so I think we're. Robert said, "Pay the bill."
Well, that's what I said.
Blame
earlier.
Eric Church.
Oh, you heard that. Just pay the bills.
No, I think we're good. All right, moving on.
Are you sure everything's good?
I think we're good. We're good to go.
All right. Let's do that. Get you out of there.
Bye-bye.
Oh, guys. Like I said, someone's going to be the ringmaster of this shit show tonight. So, welcome to season 4 of the Gaining Fast on Memphis podcast. Each week, we connect melodies and memories with fans, artists, and passionate-driven individuals in and around the music community. I'm your host, Carolyn Shriver. Tonight, we are presented by our good friends over at Arlo Revolution, cinematic wedding films, music videos, and promos. You can find them at arlorevolution.com. And our on-screen sponsors are Art on a Higher Wire by Joel, original and custom artwork inspired by your life moments, treasured photos, and memories. And our good friend Corey Oliphant, the original church choir. Just honored to have them every week, showing their love of the show, which is amazing. But we do thank all of our sponsors for continuing support and the growth of the show. As always, we talk about it every week. If you're looking for somewhere or for a way to support the show or even sponsor with us, the heart of our show is our Patreon page. Tiers start at just $1. If Patreon is something you can't do, the next best way is to show your support. Like, share, review, and subscribe anywhere. So if you got those iPhones, Apple Podcast apps, I talk about it every week. Hit that up. Hit the little check mark in the top so you subscribe to the show. Then scroll all the way down and give us a little 5-star review if you can. Helps us get seen. If you follow us on Instagram, we were just on, I think we hit 51 on the Canadian music interviews charts, which is kind of cool, man. Hey, get over in Canada a little bit. They open those borders up. I'm going up there to see Jay Eagleson right away. So I'm ready to go see him soon. But yeah, anywhere you guys can find the show, if you guys just rate it, review it, it'd be awesome for us. And just help spread the love. So our Patreon freebies this month is, let's see if I can pull that up real quick. All right. We will be drawing this next week. So if you guys are part of our Patreon, all you have to do is a private sponsor or up. You will be a part of our drawing. We're going to draw it actually probably on the 7th because we have Kristen Kelly coming back. So I won't wait till the 7th to draw it next week. But you get a Clayton Shea prize pack, a Godfather Smoke Train t-shirt, Kristen Kelly Believe keychain. It's great. It's a great little prize pack. So get on that over at Patreon. Check it out. It's a really cool thing. I love it. All right. The real reason you guys came this week, right? Let's see. Yeah. So thank you guys for tuning in. If you guys are out there, it's gonna be a fun show. So I'm excited for tonight. We're gonna get ready to dig into things. But tonight on episode 90, which is crazy, this is already 90 episodes, but we welcome in my parents. So Carolyn Kent Shriver. When I saw that my birthday landed on a Tuesday, it was only fitting. Everything I am today, I credit to these two and the values they taught me at a young age. So I just can't wait to hear all their journey. So I've heard a little bit of them, but we're gonna hear some more of them. But we're gonna go ahead and bring them on. I love it. We don't have to do a countdown. All right, let's see. I might have to mute you guys because if I don't, we might be echoing again. Let's see. They're muted. Let them talk for a minute. We'll see if it working all. If it all works out. Let's see.
Drum roll.
Another one bites it us. Let's see. Come on.
Oh, hold on. Something's happening. Oh, I think we're good. Oh, maybe.
Are we back yet?
Hold on.
Let's see. Oh, man. I don't know if we're just having like a bad storm outside. I mean, I know it's been raining for days, but what's going on?
Okay, you gotta fix all the audios again. We're all coming through echoey.
Okay. I'm going to go ahead and then erase down. Yeah.
We're getting there, guys.
All right. Does that work better? Let's see. All right, guys. I don't know what happened. I think it's either a bad storm or whatever. Our internet keeps going in and out tonight. Yeah. All right. Looks like I'm good on my end. Let me know. See if you guys can hear us in the feed and everything else. Make sure, and then we'll get going. Still?
Yeah. I'll take care of it.
Oh, yeah, that's why. Oh, fine. It should be good to go. Try it now. See what it sounds like now. I don't know why we're having so much
I'm
trouble
sure
this
they
week.
love hearing us going. Can you hear me?
I know, right? I'm sorry, y'all. This
Can you hear me
will be
now?
edited on the other end. On the
There you
feedback
go.
end.
There you go.
All right. Are we good to go?
We're good to go. I
All
feel
right.
like we need to do another intro. Like we need to play the music again. I'm kidding.
No, we're just going to patch it all in.
Okay.
We'll make it sound good in the end. Go ahead and talk real quick, guys, and let's see. And let's see if we make sure everything sounds good.
Just say hi. Hi, everyone.
Hello, everybody.
Hi. At least he didn't say dumbass. I thought he was going to call me a dumbass right off the bat.
Off the air.
They're
On
too
to.
good for that.
All right, guys. So yeah, definitely welcome to the show. It's been awesome. I wanted to finally have you guys on. Let's see, pull on some pictures. I don't know. Yeah, we're gonna have some good pictures tonight if you guys are watching. So this is my first photo, right? So when we talk about music and everything else, everything I pretty much, like I said in my intro, I credit is from them. My dad grew me up on the rock. My mom grew me up on the country. But I want to go back like I do with every guest every week and just kind of throw it back to kind of where you guys came from. So go ahead and introduce where you guys are from, where you guys were born, and then where you guys met too, or how you guys met. I'd like to know.
Go ahead.
We'll talk.
Wheeling, West Virginia, we met. His grandmother lived up the street from my family, and his mother knew my mother, and we just got to know each other.
Well, how did they know? I mean, how did the families meet? Like you
We
said,
lived on the same street.
the mother's all right.
We lived on the same street. It was a street with 100 and some kids.
Wow.
And we were known for the street with all the kids.
Whoa. Was that where your house was at, right?
Yeah.
And that was Dad's grandma lived on
He
that
lived
street.
with his grandmother for how many years? 3?
So what kind of music were you guys listening to at that time? What year was this, first off? What year are we talking?
62, 63.
So what was on the radio? What were you guys playing on? The first time you guys met, you guys were hanging out. What was on the car radio?
Oh, what was the song?
The Beatles are on the car radio.
That was the big craze.
That's it.
That was the first
That
dance.
that and Leftover Buddy Holly.
Yep.
Oh man, what year did Buddy Holly die? Was that around the time he died? No.
Oh.
He died in 1959.
59. Yeah, so that was okay. Yeah, all right. Look at that. So Beatles, a lot of the Beatles there, and this is what year was this? You said
What?
what year were you?
We started dating
62?
in 63, right?
63. Okay,
Yeah,
that's what I was trying
something
to
like
think.
that.
It's been too long.
I'm trying to get my years straight. So you guys were only dating 6 years before you got married, huh? All right.
Don't you think that's long enough?
Yeah. After knowing y'all for 39. All right, you guys both came. Well, Dad, were you from across the bridge though, or across the river there?
Yeah, I grew up in Ohio.
What part of Ohio was it?
It was Bridgeport, Ohio. It was right
Nice.
across the bridge from West Virginia. We were in West Virginia.
And you guys used to go over there and watch some football games and hang out and
Wheeling Central games.
Yeah.
Wheeling Central. All right.
Set half on Wheeling and half on Central.
Even though Dad was rooting for Bridgeport at heart, right?
I was rooting for Wheeling High School. It's a different school than she went to.
There you go.
But we whipped your butts.
Oh boy, that's fighting words. So what time? I know you went away for a while, Dad. What time did you join the service, or what year did you join the service?
That's 1966.
So about 3 years after you guys started dating, you jumped and said, "All right, I had enough. I'm gonna get out of here."
He got drafted.
Not exactly.
So how did it happen then?
Uncle Sam said, "You're coming with me." That's how it happened.
So you didn't pull a cheat and run to Canada or anything?
No,
No.
What were they doing to people back then if you got caught running up to Canada?
they didn't do much at all. They
No?
couldn't touch you in Canada.
Let's see. I'm trying to get these pictures where you actually could see them. There we go. We'll do the screen like that tonight. Because I know it was kind of hard to see the pictures with the background. There we
There's
go.
your first car.
We'll go back to that one. Now, so also a few pictures. If you guys have any comments or any questions, go ahead and put them on. Yeah, Rich Masters is saying I got my hands full tonight. Yeah.
You sure do.
Which one? I don't know. But if you guys have any questions for my parents, we will have a segment later on in the show where you can ask them anything you want. Nothing's off the table. And you could thank Bill Yance for that because it was a request by him yesterday. And just
Thanks, Bill.
Open up and ask some questions. So here in a little bit of the show, we're gonna have some questions for him. But yeah, so I want to, like I said, I want to bring him on the show and talk a little bit about how they met growing up and just some cool stuff he did. So we're in about 1966 round. My dad got drafted. So that's when you ran off, Mom, with the other guy for a little bit, right?
No. No. I really did.
I thought I heard a story about this. That's why I was like, I thought while he was gone over here protecting our country, you're over here flirting around with some other dude or something. Tell me about this. What were you doing while he was gone? I mean, what were you doing to keep busy in
Oh,
66?
I waited for a long time, but he said he wouldn't get married in the Catholic Church, and I said, "Well, I won't get married out of the church."
All right. Hey,
So-
that's fair. I give it. So yeah, why wouldn't you get married in a Catholic church? What was your thing back then?
Well, they wanted you to go through all these classes and everything just to get married. And it just didn't make any sense to me.
I agree. I agree. Definitely. But you still ended up going through them, didn't you?
No, not really.
not
You
too
did
many.
some, but
So it was cool. You get a little compromise. All right. I can take that.
well, the priest told him he didn't have to. And 2 days before the wedding, Ken came down. He came down, and the priest says, "Oh, you have to have these classes." And I said, "Well, it's a little late now." So he just gave him a crash course.
There you go. All right. That's all you needed, right?
That's what it took.
So what were you doing while he was over there, Mom? I mean, what kind of activities that were in
I worked.
66 other than working? Were you at a
Took
grocery
care of my
store?
brothers and sisters.
Were you at a grocery store at that time, or
Yeah,
were you working?
I was at the food land.
So you started working at a grocery store. What age?
I was 16.
16. You retired at a grocery store. You just was in the grocery business your entire life.
Yep.
That's awesome. That's awesome, though. I mean, it's sticking with the same. This is the same field. No,
Three
it's not heard
jobs.
of. It's not heard of out there anymore. I mean, everybody always is jumping fields or jumping jobs, so it's cool. I mean, things were different back then. I mean, you
Yeah.
kind of, I don't know.
My last one was 42 years.
Wow, it's insane. So 66, you're working, you're taking care of your kids. So you had your brother and sister. You had how many brothers and sisters did you have?
3 brothers and a sister.
Dad, you were what? You had what? 2 brothers and a sister, right, Dad?
I had 2 brothers and a sister.
All right. So yeah, it was a big, busy house. I don't know how I would turn out as only kid, but hey,
A lot of families on our street had 12 and 13 kids.
that's crazy. 100 kids, though, man. I don't know. I get a little angry after a while.
It was a very close-knit neighborhood, wasn't it? Everybody had a good
I
time.
bet everybody knew everybody's
They did.
business, didn't they?
Mhm.
And if you were bad, watch out.
Yeah,
Because
I
the
bet
the other mothers would correct you.
Oh, I'm sure.
all the time. I bet you, wouldn't they?
Yeah.
Or they wouldn't. Let's see
You
if I
couldn't
can
do
bring you around.
anything and not get caught.
Yeah.
They wouldn't correct you. They would just kind of let's see if I can do this. I want to see if I can move.
They would tell you were wrong.
I was gonna say they probably corrected them.
Well, they would also
There's
tell.
probably eyes around every corner.
Why can't I move that around?
I bet it was fun though, having all
was.
those kids around.
It was.
I always
We had
gave
a
you
good
something
time.
to do.
We played games every night.
Mm-hmm.
You played. The guys played ball. We rode bikes. With some of the other stuff we did.
Just sat around.
You actually did stuff. I mean, you have
Yeah.
cell
Well,
phones.
that's what.
You were doing
Yeah,
stuff.
that's
Yeah.
the
We
thing
didn't
that's
have
so
cell
different
phones.
now than than
And when you
kids
got
now.
called home, you better come home.
So we're about 66, 67. My dad's over. Were you in Germany at the time?
66, 67, 68, I was in Germany.
No. So now, when you were over in Germany, did you know that? I mean, of course, you knew the Shriver family was from Germany, right? Or did you know like what part or around where we were from?
No, I was in Munich. It wasn't really far from where our family started.
Which is crazy. And now finding out, like doing all this ancestry stuff and finding out like you weren't far from where we originally came from. It was really crazy.
Yeah.
So that was around Vietnam, right? Did you ever have to go into Vietnam or no?
No, I didn't.
Almost.
So almost, yeah. So January of 69, you're supposed to get married, right?
No.
No.
February.
June of 69, we
June.
were going to get married.
Oh, okay. I thought it was earlier. And I
No.
thought it was earlier.
June of 69. He was
So-
supposed to go to Vietnam around January.
So in January, you're supposed to go to that. Okay, that's where I am. So something kept you from going to Vietnam, though.
Yes.
Did you have to come back home?
He came back home for me.
So this is the part where we get a little crazier in the show. No, not a little crazy. So there are a lot of people that don't know my family too well. There was something that happened around this time. Yeah, I'm already getting choked up. I'm like, I'm not gonna do it. I'm not gonna do it. But my dad had to come home from the army because there was a fire in our family. And do you want to talk a little bit about it, or is it too tough?
No, not really.
Earlier that evening, my aunt had come over with her kids, and my cousin happened to be dating his cousin. And we called him while he was in the service. I think he was stationed in Kentucky. No,
It was in Kansas.
Kansas. So we called to make wedding plans and stuff. And he asked me why I didn't write to him. I told him I broke my arm and couldn't write. So after we hung up, they had gone home. And about an hour or so later, my Christmas tree caught fire. And I had lost my mother, my brother, and my sister. I called him back at 1 o'clock in the morning. And he said, they got him up and brought him to the phone. And he said, "What'd you do? Jump out a window?" And I said, "Yes, I did."
He was
And-
just kind of messing around. You really didn't know, huh?
Yeah, he. And then when I started crying, he knew something was wrong. He went back to the barracks and said he laid down. He got up in the morning and thought, I heard something happened. And who'd you go back to? You went back to your sergeant or somebody?
I went back to company commander and asked him about a phone call last night.
And they told you yes.
Yeah.
And they wouldn't give him a leave because he wasn't family.
Did he say, "Oh, consider me AWOL"?
He said, "I'm AWOL then, didn't you?"
Yeah.
And he drove all the way home back to West Virginia. And then when he went back, that's when all his barracks, they had all gone to Vietnam.
They left while he was gone.
And he didn't have to go.
So if you guys could see the screen or you don't know, so it was New Year's Day, 1960, what, 69?
New Year's Day, huh?
New Year's Day, 1969. Shortly after everybody went to bed, they used to have the big Christmas bulbs, the really big bulbs, and there's a live tree. And what was crazy is I never had a real tree growing up. I think one time I got a real tree one time. But the reason because is I lost my grandma, my aunt, and my uncle that night. And yeah, it was a wild night. I know Rich Masters was watching. Wasn't he there?
He was there that night, yes.
So but it was definitely a rough night and something we think about all the time, for sure. But you were told you weren't even supposed to have kids after all that.
They told me I might not walk and I may not have children.
And this picture, if you guys are watching it, and see the picture, that was the cover of the front page of the paper. And it's just odd, carrying body bags from my burning house on a paper. But that was the picture I found in Ohio.
Yeah, in Martins Ferry.
Yeah, that was a different one.
That was the one I'd never seen.
Yeah. So I found a cool story, just a little side story about this. Is a couple of years ago, I was in Bel Air, Ohio, doing a little research for this Bel Air house project that we were working on. And I was at a different county over and started researching papers. I found this picture that I'm showing now. And my mom never saw it all these years. She never saw this one picture. It almost makes you think of how many other stuff was out there they never shared or anything else. But yeah, it was definitely a night that like I said, it affected the entire family, affected me still to this day. I don't even know when you guys first told me. Did you guys wait to tell me, or when I was growing up, did I ever ask about my other grandma? Or
by 2, you know how to get out of a fire.
Okay.
And the fire chief at the mall asked which one of us was in a fire. I told him I was. I says, why? He says, a kid this age doesn't know how to get out of a fire unless something has happened.
Yeah. I still remember being a kid. Some of my early memories is you guys taking me to those trailers that they would have, and they would fill the trailers up with smoke, and they would show you how to crawl down and get below the smoke and all this other stuff. And yeah, dude, I mean, stop, drop, and roll was definitely something I learned really quick.
Yeah.
But yeah, and I always had a love for firefighters, always. And I think honestly, still to this day, my favorite color is red. There's a little demon in me, but go figure. My favorite color is red. So to say, I think honestly, I just associate that with fire trucks. When I was a kid, I had a fire truck bed, a fire truck helmet that my neighbor gave me at the time. So that was just something I always was thankful for. I mean, because if they weren't there, you could have been caught in the house and everything else. I mean, so you and your brother both got out.
My dad threw my brother out. Yes.
And your dad got out as well.
Yes.
So where was Denny was gone or he moved out, correct?
He was up. He was married and had a baby.
So tell me the OJ story that night. I know OJ played a role that night.
We were supposed to watch his daughter that night, and because his wife wanted to go out, they never went out. He worked 2 jobs. He went to school. They had the baby, and she wanted to go out, and he wanted to watch OJ in football. So he won and they didn't go out. And if they had gone, we would have had the baby with us.
Jeez. That would have been, yeah, that would never win. So shortly after, that was January when all this happened, you pushed the wedding back to August.
Yeah,
and
we wasn't married in June.
So yeah, you pushed it back, but everything was in the fire. I mean, your dress, wasn't it?
My dress I had just ordered right before the fire.
Oh, man.
My mom and my sister went with me.
Oh, man.
And I told my friend to take it. I didn't want to see it again. And she said, nope, you're wearing it.
Hey, Rosalie wrote. There we go. So just some crazy stuff. So I always dig into, I dig into other hobbies too, as well at times. And I like things that good karma at times and things that happen. Tell the story real quick before we move on to our next subject about Dad's army ring.
He had gave me his army ring. And I had put it in a drawer in my dresser, and we could not find it. Why don't you tell the rest of it? Because you know what happened.
I went back to the house. I think I came home
You
It was
came home
after
for
I
10
got out of
days.
service. I came home and I went over to the house because she said she didn't have anything, just see what I could come up with. And everything was just too burnt. And I remember I was shaking what was left of this dresser, and this little black ball came rolling out and across the floor. And I went, what the heck's that? And I picked it up. And I didn't know what it was. I put it in my pocket. And when I got back to, I don't know.
My grandmother's.
And we started digging at this ball. And all of a sudden, it was my ring in there. And when we got done cleaning it out, the ring looked better than it even did when it was new, because all that black inlay that was around the ring was now like brand new from the charcoal and everything. So that's the best that ring ever looked. So we managed to save the ring. Not much of anything else. But
No,
Did you save anything else from the house at all that you remember?
a few pictures, but we really didn't get much out, did we?
So what? I mean, honestly, I just probably a question I've never asked you. What really kept you going after that? After losing your mom, brother, and sister, what? And you're laying in the
Your
hospital
dad.
bed. I mean, what? Yeah, what?
Your dad. I knew we had a wedding, and I had to get better for him,
Mhm.
because I told him I would not marry him if I couldn't walk or have children. We weren't getting married. What was your answer?
Okay.
whatever you say.
You said, I'll carry you down the aisle.
Aw.
I said, no, you won't.
Oh man.
He was the guy of the street. All the girls wanted him.
Did you end up going back to the army, Dad, or were you just done? Or you were discharged and
No,
you're
I
out?
was out of the Army.
But you had to go back
I had to
for
go back just to sign
2
out
months, yeah.
and come get out.
Yeah. I mean, that's just. I mean, you probably just. Yeah. I mean, that's. When were you supposed to be done with it? Were you supposed to be done before the wedding?
No, it's supposed
yeah,
to be-
by March. You were supposed to be done in March.
Okay.
Yeah.
So this is a couple months early, but
Yeah.
man, oh, that's wild. So after the wedding, you guys got married in August. On your honeymoon, you guys
We
took
didn't
off
have a
and went to
honeymoon.
Jamaica and
Yeah.
had an amazing time, and people were honking at you guys driving down the road.
Tell the story.
Yeah, go ahead and tell us about your honeymoon and what you guys did.
My younger brother, we were moving to Chicago. So right after the wedding, we were going to get in the car and drive to Chicago. We didn't have anything, just the clothes on our backs.
No
We just
money,
didn't-
no
we had
clothes.
nothing. My younger brother wanted to go with us. So he climbs in the front seat with me. Carolyn gets in the back seat and she goes to sleep. And we're driving. I don't know how long we were driving, and people were passing us, blowing their horns and waving at us. And what's going on, you know? So we stopped somewhere, and I get out of the car, and on the back of the car is a just married sign. And the only people you could see in that car was me and my brother. No, Carolyn.
And this is 1969. That was way before.
69.
Yeah, way before we.
That's before that was fashionable.
Way before. Yeah, that was very acceptable and everything else.
Leave it to us.
Did you still have the cans dragging behind you too?
No, we got the sign. We still have the sign.
That is wild. I guess you guys just driving down the road and everybody's like, hey, all right.
So that was our honeymoon.
That was it.
One of these days we're gonna send them on a honeymoon. We're gonna do this. Might be 80, but we'll get you there eventually.
With our canes and our walkers.
Right? Yeah, we'll get you a honeymoon. Don't worry. So shortly after you guys moved to Chicago, something that is really cool that I'm going to share some pictures of coming up in the next couple of days or whatever on my social media. So kind of keep an eye out for it. But my dad got a job right off the bat, and before he started going back to work and everything else, my mom just wanted a piece of furniture in the house. Dad, tell me about the piece of furniture you guys ended up getting when you first moved home or moved here.
We bought that piece of furniture, I think, the next morning.
Uh-huh.
We went to, I think it's Polk Brothers in Chicago. And I just wanted a radio and a record player or something. And that was a big thing back there. So
we didn't have a TV.
I bought this console stereo, the record player and a radio, AM, FM, everything in it. And we still have it today. In fact,
Well, our son has it.
Aaron has it now, and it still works. That's amazing.
And now it plays Eric Church songs.
Yeah. Now plays Eric Church.
So, and it's awesome. I love it. It has a few new needles in it. Might need some new speakers one of these days, but everything else works great on it. And it's just, yeah, amazing piece of furniture. I'll just share it, but it's one of those big cabinet vinyl. I don't have a picture of it right now, but one of these big cabinet vinyls. And they still have the sold tag in it. That was just so wild.
Yeah,
The price tag, everything was still in it.
It's probably every penny we had.
But it's cool because I like it because now, like, it's just because the years and the music it's played. I mean, it was brand new in '69. Here is 2022, and it's still playing vinyl records to this day. Did you ever think that one piece of furniture that you bought would be playing Eric Church albums?
We didn't even know Eric
Yeah,
Church.
I know Eric Church.
Waylon and Willie, we knew.
So, speaking of Waylon, we'll have to talk about him in a little bit because that was technically my first concert, right? Was Waylon Jennings?
Was it?
Well, that's what you guys told me. Wasn't Mom like 7 months pregnant?
Probably
Maybe.
was.
Oh, yeah.
Probably
Maybe it
was.
was. Waylon and Willie.
We went with everybody you worked with. At the
I remember you
office.
saying a couple months before I was born, you guys went and saw Waylon. I was just like, all right, so that's where I got it from.
Poplar Creek.
There you go. So you guys are into good music, which is always good, but we'll get into that closer to once we get up to the 80s. We're still hanging around the 70s right now. So tell me about the 70s in Chicago. Just everything that was happening around you. If there was any year that I will ever compare, because honestly, my year is the 90s. If anybody that lived through the 90s, it was amazing. Just amazing. So I compare the 70s to the 90s, I think, just reading about it. You guys lived through both. What was the 70s like?
Wasn't anything like today. 70s was right out of the movies. I mean, the long hair, the bell-bottom pants,
Dinner on Sunday with families.
headbands. I mean, it was.
Oh, yeah, you have a picture of the headband.
I'm probably sure I got one in here somewhere. I don't know where it's in here. I got pictures, so but it'll probably show up during the show. But
we used to go to Chicago, this place called Old Town. And Old Town had all the psychedelic shops with the posters and all the music playing, and there was clubs down there. It was just a really cool place to go.
With your parents.
Yeah, we took my parents down one
Parents.
time, and they had a building that had a big window in the front, and it was all whited out. And it had one little circle that you could see in, and it was a peep show building. Now I caught my dad, and I didn't see where he was, and I turned around. He's back there looking through that little peephole.
fast forward, or finish the story. Hold on. Oh, that was your end of it? Are you any more of that story?
Yeah, well, he got yelled at by my mom, but
So fast forward like 40 years later, 30 years later, one of my first shows, well, not my very first show, but my dad and I went and saw Metallica when I was 16. And similar to the Peep Show, but right before Metallica went on, my dad has the binoculars out, and I don't know why. And I just hear people cheering everywhere. It was his own Peep Show. So once I got the binoculars, I found out what he was looking at. I was like, ooh, I like concerts. All right.
then I couldn't get the binoculars back.
Exactly. And so to this day. No.
And he came home and told on you.
Oh, that was after the Kiss show. We'll talk
Thought that
about
I'd be upset.
So 70s Peep shows. I mean, hair bands. Dude, I mean, it's kind of, I don't know, it might have the 90s beat. So if you guys were out there in our chat, if any of you guys lived during the 70s, tell me what your favorite moment of it was in the chat if you guys can. I'd love to
There was gangs.
read a couple of them. What was that?
There was gangs.
Gangs, mobsters. Was Al Capone doing things in the 70s in Chicago? Or was he already gone?
He was way gone.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I thought he was gone by then. But he had modern day stuff. So one of the coolest stories that I heard, and I want to get him to tell the real version of it, because I've heard a couple of different ways, and I probably twisted around over the years. So we need to get this version of the story on recorded here. I was gonna say on tape, on film. I'm just going back to the 90s already. Jeez. So if anybody's seen the movie The Founder, this is what the movie or the story is going to kind of revolve around. So when my dad first got here, were you working with Uncle Kim, or was it you, Uncle Kim, that had the landscaping business, or what were you doing in landscaping?
No.
It was his neighbor.
Your neighbor.
My landlord and I went into business. We decided we just cut grass on the side, and he had an old van, so we we got a couple old lawnmowers, and we were doing that. And people started asking us if we do other things. So, well, whatever you want us to do. And we went from cutting grass to laying sod to planting trees. And we actually had a landscaping business, a real business going. But we didn't know enough to start hiring people how to do that. And we just got so busy and wore ourselves out, we just kind of gave it up. And it was just too much for us. We just weren't smart enough to go see somebody to say, how do we do this and turn this into something big? And we would have had the first landscaping company in the northwest suburbs of Chicago, which would have been a big, big deal.
It would have been huge.
But that's not the worst of the deal.
Yeah.
No. I mean, yeah, you could have been rich off of having the first landscape, or you could have had something else. So tell me whose lawn you were cutting for a while.
We got a call from a guy that asked if we could plant pine trees and trim his lawn and do this and do that. So we went out to see him, and he had this big, big house and big yard. And we said, okay, we'll lay some sod, plant some trees. And we worked all day. We really busted our buns. And when we were done, he comes out and he says, you guys really work hard. He says, I got something, an opportunity for you. So we just kind of looked at each other, and he says, how would you like to sell hamburgers? And we look at each other, and my landlord and I, hamburgers? We don't want to sell hamburgers. And we blew him off. We said nothing. Well, his name was Ray Kroc. He said, all you guys need is $50,000. I'll set you up in the building, the business, everything. Any suburb you want in the northwest suburbs. And we both qualified for a GI loan of $20,000 a piece, $25,000 a piece. So the money was going to be there. But we hadn't heard of McDonald's. So it's like, I don't want to sell hamburgers.
And little did you know, so many years later, who Ray Kroc became.
So, he didn't become, he was already.
Yeah, well, yeah, exactly. I mean, he was already getting there, but that was only, you would have had one of the first 5?
Probably the first few.
Yeah.
I don't know.
One of the first 5 or 6 McDonald's, man.
There's only a few in the area at the time.
Because they started in Des Plaines was the very first one, right? Well, other than California. Have you seen the movie that was out there? But then he brought the Des Plaines and kind of grew it from Illinois out, which is really nice. I think the headquarters is still here too.
At the time we lived at this place.
Well, I could probably have been retired already.
We would have been retired already.
Man,
I would have gotten a honeymoon.
Instead of getting fat on burgers, I would have got a fat wallet on burgers. Damn, no. So that was a story I've always he's always shared, and I loved hearing that. Just how hard work could have got him in McDonald's. But so, Mom, we talked a little bit about you being in grocery. Dad, you're in the Army. So working in grocery stores your entire life. When you got to Chicago, where was your first one that you were working at here? Do you remember? Or
Dominick's.
Is that when you first joined Dominick's? So, all right. So you were at Dominick's your entire
in
time.
72, I went to Dominick's.
Oh, wow.
And worked there until they closed up.
I didn't know you were at Dominick's that long. I knew you were with there long, but I didn't know it was that long.
42
That's
years.
crazy. So in all the years of working grocery stores, what was probably the worst day you ever had?
Gee.
At work. Like nothing that happened outside of work, like at work. What was the worst thing that ever happened to you on the job?
Probably when I worked in the back room and one of the stalkers dropped a whole pallet of beer all over the back room.
Man, I bet that was a smelly mess.
It was.
That's crazy. So, Dad, I'm going to kind of pose the same question to you, but more about being in the Army. I want to know, this time you spent in the Army, was it 3 years you were there? Almost 4?
3 years.
Kind of any takeaways you had. I mean, if you had to do it all over again, would you do it again? Would you stick around and maybe go back and do it longer? What got you into it? And just tell me a little bit being in the Army, just some cool stories.
Well, I had no choice of getting into it.
Yeah.
I'd probably do it again, but probably for not more than a year. 3 years a little too much of that stuff.
Well, you were out of the country for 2 years, right?
What?
You were out of the country for 2 years.
Yeah. But that was probably the best part, being in Germany.
Oh, sure.
You want to hear the story about Germany?
I want to hear some stories about Germany for sure. You got to tell me some stories
Tell me
about Germany.
the girls.
And, I want to hear about the girls, and I want to hear about the music. I want to hear if you saw any cool bands, if you went to any shows over there, or if you got into any Germany music, or just anything.
Well, I'll tell you the first story is when I got to Germany, I was with a group of guys, and we actually landed in Frankfurt and got on a train. We didn't know where we were going. Our orders weren't specific where to go. We sat in the train station for quite a while, and the guys, there was a lot of girls in the train station, and there must have been like 50 of us to begin with. And little by little, the guys started disappearing with girls. And I was in a group of like 3 other guys. We decided just to get on a train. We didn't know where it was going for sure. And we ended up in Munich. And then we ended up walking the street in Munich because we don't know where to go. And we finally found out where the local military installation was. And we showed up there and talked to a guy. It was after duty hours. And he says, well, nobody's here to sign you in. And we didn't have orders to be there. So he said, well, you can go up in the attic of this building. There's bunks up there and blankets. Go ahead and go up there. He says, mealtime, come down and eat. And he says, come Monday morning, come back in and we'll get you all signed up. So we did that. And we're up in the attic of the building. We're looking out these dormers. Monday morning came and we wake up late. And all these guys, a couple hundred guys are out there doing calisthenics and stuff. And we're going, I ain't going out there. So we're up there for about a week. Going down and eating, going back, down and eating, and we're supposed to be signed in somewhere, but nobody knew where. So when we went down, it was a surprise to everybody. You know, where you guys from? Well, we just got off the bus and we walked here. And so we got signed into that unit. And that's how I ended up there. But I found out over that weekend, it must have been right after I got there, from somebody that I wanted a car to get around. They said, you're not allowed to have a car. He says, the only way you can have a car is if you have a car already before you go in there and sign up. So I immediately took off. And at the time, to buy a car in Germany, they sold them out of junkyards. There weren't too many used car lots. Either you had a new car or you went to a junkyard and you bought a used car. For $75, I bought this car. And then when I went to sign in, I said, oh, I've got a car. And they said, how could you have a car? I said, well, I've got one. And they couldn't take it off of me then. I'm the only guy in the building with a car. So I had a lot of friends all of a sudden. Well, on one of our trips downtown, there's about 3 or 4 of us in the car. Downtown Munich was set up like a wagon wheel, with a lot of streets coming into a hub, and there's a police officer standing in the middle on a podium directing all this traffic, and he had too many lanes going at once. He called me out to go. I pulled out, and a garbage truck slams into front of my car.
Oh.
Well, I flattened the fender out. I made the grill that was straight up and down go to an angle, the wheels leaning over, and we ended up partially on the sidewalk. Well, next thing I know, the cops are coming, and the cops drove Jaguars and stuff, BMWs. And they couldn't wait to get there. They grabbed me and took me to jail, but I didn't have to go in a cell. I was sitting outside, and I'm waiting and waiting. I don't know what's going on. I can't speak German. Nobody's speaking English. All of a sudden, this big guy comes walking in. He's got a smile from ear to ear, and he can speak English, not real good, but good enough. And he's patting me on the back, and he's saying, we're family. I look at him. I said, what do you mean? He says, my name is Shriver. That was your name in Germany. It was changed to Shriver.
Yep.
And he even mentions a town that I remember Dad said our relatives came from, or that area. And I said, well, my dad was telling me about the Shriver brothers that came, and they lived in Hamburg. And he just went nuts. So I started agreeing with him. Yeah, you're definitely a relative. $2.50 later, I'm out of jail and on my way back. So most likely he probably was a relative.
Which is kind of funny because now that I've been doing all this ancestry stuff, I was able to pinpoint the time when the Shriver family was spelled like Scheiber or whatever it was.
Mhm.
They came from Germany to Philadelphia up the river, and the myth or whatever it says is the guy didn't know how to spell it, or our name was too long. We came up the river, so he said S.H. Shriver. Or I mean, that's how they said it. Where it was pronounced Shriver, but it's pronounced Shriver. So it's kind of weird, but I like it. I'll take it.
It's weird, but Germany, well, at the time was this an unbelievable place. The towns were called hamlets. They all had cobblestone roads going into them. It just right off of a
Girls
postcard.
outside the barracks with fur coats on.
Anything else?
No.
So the German girls like the American men, then, huh?
Oh yeah.
Well, a lot of German girls were working girls. They hung around outside the barracks wearing
Fur coats.
and that was all they were.
Did they have any nicknames coming? Because the truck driver community has a lot lizards. I mean, was it a lot like that, or?
Well, no, they didn't walk around, knock on the door of your truck and stuff. They
Just waited for you.
They just stood by the bushes as you drove by and showed you the goods and closed their coat back up.
And in the 70s, that was probably the bushes, probably camouflage, man.
I don't know. But that was acceptable over there. I mean, that's the way it was.
That is awesome, though. I mean, hell, we gotta go to Germany, Dad.
I don't know if it's quite like that anymore.
No, he's already had a heart attack.
We're gonna be on like number 25 on the charts in Germany next week. All right. Yeah, we don't need any more heart attacks. We had one. I mean, we can talk about the bachelor party real quick.
No.
Jillian's like, no, let's not do that. No. So, I mean, that's cool. So if you didn't get drafted to the Army, then would you have signed up and gone?
No, I've
No?
never done that. No.
Okay. I mean, I was curious because I mean, honestly, I had no hearing stories from that you gave me and everything back in the day. I had no desire ever to go in the Army. I was like, I'm good.
Most of the guys didn't want to be there. They were Uncle Sam put them there. It wasn't their choice.
Yeah. So that's crazy. Did you see any music? Listen to anything over there? Who was popular over there when you were over there? I mean, what was going on?
I met some German guys. It was like a Friday night, and I had a pass for that night. I think maybe for Saturday, but I didn't have any money. But for 10 pfennigs, which is about a nickel, you could jump on the trolley car right outside the post. They called it a tram, but it's a trolley car, and it'd take you downtown Munich. So I'd do that for 10 cents, and I'd walk around Munich. And one evening, I'm walking past what you'd call a bar today, but they call them guest houses. And I walked past, I didn't know where, I was just walking around, and these young guys come running out and grab me. And my guys my age, and they take me back in there. I don't know what they're saying. They're speaking German. And anything I wanted to eat, beer, drink, I didn't have to pay for anything. So I ended up with some friends, and gradually I understood how to order food. I could order food, but I couldn't really speak German, but I knew enough how to say food in German. So I learned a little bit to get around and do things like that, but they would take me to party here and a party there. So I had some German friends, but they took me to this place. I think it's called the Red Room or something like that. And
fur coats were optional.
And we're sitting, I think our seats were kind of curved around a round stage. And there was nothing there. And actually, it was just a big hole. And I'm going, I don't know what's happening here. And the guys are sitting there and they're waiting and waiting. All of a sudden, up through this hole comes the Rolling Stones right in front of my face. I'm like, holy cow. It was just an awesome thing to happen. I never thought I'd see the Rolling Stones.
And this is what, 67, 68?
This had to be around 68.
The Rolling Stones in 1968. Dude, would I pay money for that?
About when they were starting.
I know.
Really,
Man, so I don't want to skip around. I mean, I know where we already have been, but a picture popped up. Of course, random pictures always pop up. Mom, I want you to tell me a little bit about this picture. So if you guys if you're listening back on the streaming side of things, there's a picture of my old bedroom when I was in high school on the screen right now. And go ahead and tell us what we're looking at.
That's your bedroom. I came home from work and went in your bedroom, and you had spray painted the walls.
This was good bands. I mean,
And before you were born, your dad says, "Oh, no kid of mine's going to do anything like that," because he had nieces that did that. He put stars on the ceiling, spray painted the walls. What else?
I don't know what made me do this. So I had teal walls because I was a huge Charlotte Hornet fan. So it used to be a Charlotte Hornets room.
Yep.
But looking at this photo, I have Christmas lights on the ceiling, which is interesting. Hockey sticks in the corner, and Metallica, Kiss, Power Man 5000, and a bunch of girls' phone numbers on the wall. That's all I remember. I know I used to write phone numbers on my wall. Like, hey, I don't know why, but I guess we had no Rolodex
I don't
back
remember
then.
what you said. You weren't too happy, were you?
I think we're looking at the best of the
Yeah, that
four
is.
walls. I think it got worse.
Probably did. That's the only picture I was able to find. But I was like, and it's funny because those S's is the way I still sign my name with that S right there. So
I'm surprised you're still alive today.
we'll go back to little old innocent me. So, yeah, definitely. That's really cool being able to see the Rolling Stones and all that. We'll have to get over to Germany over the next couple of years.
Yeah.
We gotta go. We got to.
It's not going to be the same.
It's
really.
not, but it's just be cool to go. I mean, see if we could. See what's left. You know, wouldn't it be cool just to drive around the old towns and stuff that you used to be stationed in, and
Yeah.
just to see what's left of it and see what's.
But everything's changed. Nothing's the same after
No, never.
60 years, 70 years.
I'm trying. Why didn't you? I'm trying to read what you said, Joey. I'm sorry. Why didn't you tell me that we got to go to a game in Buzz City someday? Oh man. So all right, let's see. I want to see if I can. Oh, there's an old picture of you. You said this was Kentucky. This photo, right?
I thought that was Germany.
Was that Germany?
Well, that I
Yeah,
don't
let me
think
put
is
you-
Germany
No.
because I don't have any rank on my sleeve yet. So that's going to be Kentucky,
Oh,
Where were you stationed at in Kentucky when you were there?
Fort Campbell, Kentucky.
Nice. All right. So let's see. We got a few more minutes. We move on to our next little sections and stuff. I'm just kind of going through some photos, see what we got. So, Mom, I wrote this down. We'll talk about this real quick since we are skipping around. Hopefully, the picture will show up eventually somewhere in here. Mother's Day. Let's say 2005. Is that what we're saying?
I think we said May of 2005, right?
Oh, yeah, Mother's Day.
Well, yeah. Mother's Day is in May. Thanks for pointing that out. Yeah, I think in 2005 you said.
Yeah, so our local news channel was doing this. I was like, oh, I wouldn't find this picture, but they were doing this competition, and it was like, or not a competition, but it was like they're gonna pick 5 mothers 5 days of the week and do this Mother's Day makeover thing. But you had to write this story in and tell all about why your mom deserved it and all this other stuff. And me, I don't know, I'm thinking, hey, it'd be kind of cool. She deserves it. She works her ass off and does a lot of stuff. So I decided just to write up a little thing and send it in and hopefully we're the best, right? And see what happens. Well, a couple of days later, I got a call from Fox News in Chicago, and they wanted to feature us on the TV show and give my mom a makeover and all this other stuff. And this is shortly after, I don't even think you and I were together a year at this point. Yeah, we just started dating. And so, yeah, we got to go and be on the Fox News morning show. My mom got an awesome makeover. If you guys are watching the show live, you get to see the picture on the screen right now. It was a very fun time, and I wish I had the video.
I was just going to say,
Yeah.
do we have the video?
It's probably somewhere.
I have one.
Oh, you should bring it. I remember. I know you were. I was nervous.
Remember my dad when they asked my dad what he thought?
Aaron kept saying,
What did he say?
He's just
Okay.
like, he said something, but his eyebrows went, oh.
Yeah.
His eyebrows went straight up in the air.
And he like mumbled. I remember she asked me a question, and whatever she asked me, I answered. My answer did not answer her question because because I had rehearsed an answer in my head all morning.
I was saying you're already mumbling too, but yeah. So we got to be a
That was
part of the
fun.
morning show and then spend the day in Chicago. You got to go out.
They took you shopping, right?
Yes, they took me shopping.
Got your hair and
Outfit
makeup.
me, did my hair, did my makeup, did my nails.
Of course, they had me read the story of the fire and everything on live on TV, and I'm over here a sobbing mess like always. But hey, whatever.
Well, that
Those are-
wasn't the worst. The worst was you kept telling me I may be getting a phone call.
Well, what?
Yeah, we thought you were in trouble.
Yeah.
Oh.
We were waiting for a phone call
Oh.
thinking he was in trouble.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Oh,
About what?
yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Now that I know you guys, I know you
Oh, yeah.
stayed up all day and all
Oh,
night
yeah.
worrying.
We worried. I said,
Oh, the day of? Oh, wow, I was trying to surprise you,
well,
right?
no, yeah.
Yeah.
And you kept saying, oh, I don't think it's going to happen because I haven't heard anything. And I said, are you in trouble? And you said, no, I'm not in trouble.
This time.
Then he called me and he says, don't leave the house. Be by the phone. Stay right by the phone. They're going to call you. I said, who's going to call me? He says, just go and would say by the phone. So the phone rang. I answered and they said, this is Fox News. I said, oh my God, what did he do? And when she
Oh,
told me,
no.
I sat there crying my head off. Ket comes up and says, what's wrong? And I said, it's okay. It's okay. And then I called my one sister-in-law. She's in Canada now. And I said, I'm crying so hard. I couldn't talk. And I said, I can't believe this. And she said, what happened? And I told her. She kept saying, are you okay? Are you okay? And I said, I'm fine. It's good news.
He can be sweet when he wants to.
I
Yeah.
try to be every now and then, but
He's like those, what is it? Wait, that commercial, the sweet and sour, the Sour Patch Kids.
Yeah.
He can be really sweet,
But
but he's
Rosalie,
super sour.
Rosalie wasn't surprised when she heard it.
Yeah,
She said, oh, I knew he would do something like that.
he is.
Of course, we got Dad's headband picture making an appearance now.
Oh my
about the-
gosh.
talk
But
about
I
the
would kill to
70s.
see your dad look like that.
Well, that's because he had long hair.
So on the left-hand side, if you guys are watching right now, there's a picture about when I was about 9 years old. I would say 9-10 years old. I think we figured out when I was about 9. It's right before my 10th birthday. This is actually the night that I learned wrestling was fake. I was a big WWF fan back in the day. My uncle actually is a general manager. Well, still is to this day. It used to be the West Bank, or it's now the West Bank Arena. It used to be the Wheeling Civic Center. So I got to spend a lot of cool times in this arena and do a lot of cool things. I got to see my first concert in there, wrestling. Hockey, banging stuff over here. I got to go see Kenny Rogers wearing a Pantera shirt. I shared that picture the other day. That was kind of interesting. A lot of cool things I got to do, but I remember one time we got to go see wrestling, and they had a surprise for me. And they said, make sure you come back after this match. And it was like Greg the Hammer Valentine or something. I forgot who it was. And we ended up going back, and we walked into the back hallway we were supposed to go. And one of the nasty boys was leading his head out and ended up scaring the crap out of my mom over here. I don't know what he was doing, but I mean, he saw us, like he dipped back in and tried to hide or whatever, or did something. So they had to stand there and wait. And then the door opened up. And as the door opened up, I saw a glimpse into the locker room. And there was Greg the Hammer Valentine. I don't know who he was wrestling, like the Mountie or Bret Hart or something like that. And they were sitting there drinking a beer together after 10 minutes after they just beat the shit out of each other. I'm like, wait, that doesn't add up. That's not right. And then Hulk Hogan walked out, and I forgot why he even was there. So, and I knew I was meeting Hulk Hogan, but go ahead and take the story away and what happened after that.
Well, you were a chatterbox usually.
He still is a
And-
Chatterbox. He
and-
didn't used to be.
And as soon as you met Hulk Hogan, you like froze up. You couldn't even open your mouth. So he tried to talk to you, and you just
Stared at him.
you were so scared. But he was massive besides.
He was a
But
big guy.
that's pretty much it. I think he gave you a bandana and a Hulk
T-shirt.
shirt.
The
and-
T-shirt, bandana, all that
But
stuff.
he was one of the nicest guys we probably ever met.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I've heard stories about him and different things like this. I heard bad stuff about the guy, but honestly, he was the coolest, nicest guy. And even
Yeah.
today, I've met him two times since that day, and I've shown him these pictures and everything else, and he's still one of the coolest guys I've ever met and everything else. I don't even know who took this picture of all of us. It came out a little blurry, but it was the best picture we had. I was
Yeah.
like, hey, But he came out. I just remember looking up. I'm like, holy crap! Like this guy was 10 feet taller than me at the time. Just like this is Hulk Hogan. I can't believe this. But definitely one of the good times. But a lot of times that arena we're talking about. Before we move on, we're gonna run a little over. Oh well, I still got a couple more stories to share before we move on to our sponsored section of the night. Tell him about where you took me in '96. What we went and did in West Virginia.
Was that the kiss?
In '96.
Yeah, you picked me up from school and we went somewhere. When I was 14 years old.
Is that when we went to see Kiss?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we drove to West Virginia to see Kiss.
Well, I didn't know we were going to see Kiss. We were just going to a concert.
At Carolyn's brother's place. And I sat in the press box. Aaron wanted to be down on the floor, so he was
my first concert.
He's front row against the rail, dead center. Nobody else is there yet. And then they open the door, and here comes 200 people storming the air.
2,000 people, not 200, like 2,000 that big. I'm a 14-year-old kid. I got 2,000 people rushing me. Granted, half of them were bikers.
But I think it's Gene Simmons came up and he was spitting blood all over the place, and Aaron got blood on him and got blood on the money he had in his pocket. But for Aaron, he was having a good time. And then there was a girl on each side of him, and they were really into Kiss big time.
Oh, yeah.
So they did what a lot of girls do with their tops.
No binoculars, though, at this point. I didn't need them.
So now we got a girl on each side of him with no top on. I don't think Aaron saw much of the show.
Oh, I saw a show. I remember. So yeah, during that show, I mean, everything under the sun that could happen to a 14-year-old kid. I'm going to tell you, I was branded for life. That's why I'm raised rowdy, front row don't go. Shout Nick Tressler on that, but for sure, dude. I mean, I was just like, I don't know, it was wild. It was everything you could think of as a Kiss concert. The blood when he flew up, the fireworks out of the guitar, smashing the guitar. I don't know how many guitar picks I caught. 3 or 4 of them, Paul Stanley spit right out. I caught him like out of his mouth. But it was just, wild night. Of course, a rock concert. I ended up getting pretty much my first kiss at a Kiss concert during Beth. I caught a flower and gave it to one of the girls next to me. Don't know which one. They were 21, 22 and drunk. I was 14 and whoa. But it was definitely a concert. And I still remember walking back into my uncle's office because that was our rendezvous kind of point. But I found out after this that my uncle did tell all security in the front row, hey, that's my nephew. Anything happens to that kid, it's your ass, pretty much. So I did have guardians that night, and they probably saw what was happening to me and like, let this kid have a night. Like, well, he'll remember this for us his life. But I remember walking to my uncle's office, big old pile of bootleg t-shirts, like 200 bootleg t-shirts on the floor of his office. I have blood all over my hands and it's in my hair. I have longer hair and the blood was sticky. I don't know what it was. It wasn't real blood. It was whatever fake blood is. Then during rock and roll all night, they shoot off confetti. So I have confetti stuck in my hair to this blood. I have like a bruise across my chest from the rail. And I'm just looking at my dad. I was like, what the fuck was that, dude? What did you just bring me to? And we've seen Kiss 5 times. We brought my kid to see Kiss, and I think that's what branded me with concerts and music.
I wasn't there. And
I remember him telling, "Don't tell your mom. Go home, tell my mom everything." I think my next concert was Hootie and the Blowfish. So yeah, definitely changed it. But then I got to see Metallica shortly after that, so that was always good. But definitely growing up, we saw some cool bands. So we saw some cool music. Let's see. I'm trying to think what else before we get into your first love. I should have pulled a picture. I totally forgot. So my mom, well, I'm going to blame it on you at first. This is probably shortly after the Kiss concert, probably like a year or so. Like, what was that? 96 was the Kiss concert, like 97. Got a little obsession with Billy Ray Cyrus. She's like, yeah. And we went everywhere to see him. We probably saw Billy Ray 100 times, if not more. I mean, we have pictures of Noah, Miley, the entire family.
Was Carolyn obsessed, or
it was started?
It was Aaron.
No, it started. She just said it started with her. It started with her.
I've been along for the church ride.
Hey,
so you know,
we
it was Aaron, but I liked Billy Ray.
I know.
I have a picture of you roller
I
skating
liked-
and Billy Ray shirt.
I liked
so.
Billy Ray too. I'm a BRC
We
fan
would go
too.
see him 3 or 4 times a weekend.
all the time.
We
Well,
traveled
not a weekend.
every-
Yeah, we would leave
yeah.
on Thursday and go see him 4 times and come home on Tuesday.
That
and
doesn't surprise me.
No.
it's really cool though because when we used to go see him, we would get to know the band, we get to know everybody. Like I said, Noah, Miley, we knew all of them really well. Billy Ray, Tish, the family. And one of the coolest things though, still to this day is, and this is
Photo
how
album.
full circle everything comes, is the night I got the guitar behind my shoulder from Eric Church. Eric Church's guitar tech, still to this day, and if you go to church shows with me, you'll hear me yell MJ all the time. It's Michael Jose Grace. That's Billy Ray Cyrus's guitar player. So I have grown up with Michael Joe since I was probably 15 years old. And it's cool because now here I am 39. So many years later, and I still watch Michael Joe do what he loves and still work around music and everything else. So it's cool to see then how full circle music has came for myself, and just because of that one guy and seeing how he transitioned from Billy Ray to Eric Church. But yeah, so it's wild Billy Ray stuff.
You held up the Billy Ray show one night.
Go ahead and tell that story. Oh, tell that story.
They-
Oh, yeah.
They introduced Billy Ray, and they're waiting, and they're waiting, and they're waiting, and she says, "I don't know where Ray's at." Well, in the meantime,
Aaron's gone.
we don't know where Aaron's at. And we both looked at each other and said, "I bet you he's got something to do with this." And he did. They were going through an album that Aaron made.
I made him a scrapbook of all these pictures, and just like it was cool. Cause I pitched like I don't know if it was all of the Some Gave All songs. I wish I would have saved a copy of it. I thought I had one somewhere. I kind of just wrote the lyrics that meant the most to me and what the song meant, and put pictures of knowing Billy Ray for so many years. And I gave it to him one night. It's like, hey, here you go. And we literally sat in his dressing room that night and looked at this album for half an hour. And he was supposed to be on stage 20 minutes prior to that. And then the next night he played a show. We had him not going for something, but he dedicated Some Gave All to me, which was really cool. And I still have the recording on a cassette tape somewhere of him dedicating Some Gave All to me after reading that book, and talks about the book and everything else. I'm like, that's cool. I mean, because I told him about what that song meant, and I made me understand the song more and like what it was about. So really cool. The picture on the screen of the Indian, that's actually in West Virginia outside the Capitol Theater, where we saw Billy Ray a bunch of times. The one
That
on
was
the
probably the night we seen Billy Ray.
the one, yeah, I think it was. The one on the left is my dad creeping in my room. Probably I had a girl in there and was waiting for him to come in. Should I tell him the story about you walking in on me and then taking my door off the hinges?
We told you no girls in the bedroom.
Yeah,
and
told me I can't lock the door, and I can't have the door shut with a girl in there. And one day my dad fell asleep. I'm like, I'm gonna shut the door. Well, after I walked her back home, I got home. Have you guys ever seen the movie Funny Farm, or even seen the old doors that, you know how like it was like 2 doors and like the top would swing open? Well, I didn't have a top. He just cut my door in half. Like literally, he pulled my door off the hinges, took it out to the garage, sawed the damn thing in half, and hung it back on the hinges. So I had half a door. And I was like 15 years old or 14 years old. So that was great, man.
he didn't follow the rules. So
It's funny because I tell this story because he's creeping in, and I'm thinking that looks like a brand new door on the wall. So I'm wondering if this is after I got the new door, or if this is before the door he cut.
that's probably the door you cut.
That might be the one we cut.
I do like the sticker on the closet door that says, "My kid beat up your honor roll student." Definitely had those stickers back in the day. Oh, there we go. There's your picture again. Oh, here's Carla. Welcome. I can't believe how much you look like Ken. I've never seen pics of him in his younger days. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. And definitely, I think Jackson has a lot of it. We have a few more. I'll be sharing some younger photos. And if you guys are in our Patreon too tonight, I have like 40 or 50 photos that I will be uploading tonight to our Patreon. So it's amazing photos, stuff that's not going to make the show right now because we are running out of time here. You can take me to concerts to see boobs, but I can't see them in my own room. Thank you for that, Carla. I wish I would have that back then. I would be like, hey, dude, you taking me to concerts for it, but what the hell? I love that. So that's funny as hell. But yeah, definitely some good times growing up. All right, we're gonna move on. Let's see. I want to see if there's any more good pictures that we could share before we move on. Where was this picture here on the left-hand side taken?
That was
Of you two?
in the hospital after we had you. After
So,
we had you.
like when they give you your one dinner, hey, you want to watch a kid?
When you had I had a steak dinner.
Nice.
And I couldn't get a hold of your dad all day, and I couldn't imagine why. I called your grandmother and I said, do you know where Kent's at? She says, he'll get in touch with you as soon as he can. He's running errands for me. And to find out that your grandfather was in the room downstairs from me, had a heart attack the night before.
Forgot about that. Yeah.
And
So-
I didn't know about it.
My grandfather and I were in the hospital together.
Your dad
I
was in the
forgot that.
hospital all night with me, all day with me. And then the next night was in there with his dad.
Jeez, that's wild. Yeah, that's something I wish we would. Man, so much we could. I knew we were gonna run over. Just like we didn't talk about that really. We didn't talk about Papa. We didn't talk about. I want to talk a lot about Eric Church, so we could talk a little bit about that.
Just a little bit.
I don't want to go down an Eric Church rabbit hole. I was trying to shy away from a lot of church talk tonight. I wanted you guys really get to meet my parents. I mean, a lot of you guys that have met them before, has been at church concerts, everything else. You know, they're huge fans. The first time they ever met Eric Church was it Mother's Day?
Right around Mother's Day.
Yeah, I think so.
He
that
come
be-
out of the bus and held his hands up and said, "Don't hit me!
Yeah,
Don't hit
I
me!
was gonna say that was after the tattoo.
Yeah.
Then. Okay.
Don't hit me!"
So my dad and I didn't talk for a while after I got that tattoo on my arm, the big one, just this big old
6
black
months,
thing,
right?
yeah, big old black thing on my arm. And I still remember sitting on Eric's bus one night and having Eric call them. Was that before you knew about the tattoo, or is that
No,
when
I
you
knew
found
about
out?
the tattoo.
I already knew.
And you called and you said somebody wants to talk to you. And I said, who? And you gave Eric the phone. And he gets on and he said, hi. And he says, this is Eric Church. I said, yeah, right.
I was gonna say you called him a liar.
And I heard him say to you, your mother doesn't believe me. And he said, I hear you hate the tattoo. I says, I do. I says, and you better give him, or I says, he's never going to get a job with that. And he says, I'll give him a job if he wants a job.
I
said, well, you
should
better.
took it and ran, dude. I didn't. I should have took that and ran right then and there. Probably got it on video somewhere. Him saying that. I think I got him talking to you on video somewhere.
Well, didn't we met him 2 months later? He come out of the bus. Don't hit me! Don't hit me!
So he was playing Joe's Bar in Chicago one year, and I was living in Mississippi, and it was I think it was the second time he played Joe's, and I wasn't able to get up for the show. I wasn't able to come on up for the show and be there. So I told my parents, I said, hey, you guys wanted to go to the show, but just go ahead and say hi to the guy for me. And they did. They drove up to Chicago, knocked on his bus door, and they hung out and talked for a little bit.
Mhm. And the people all knew who we were before we even got to the bus. Remember that?
Yeah,
They were coming up to us and says, "Oh, you're Aaron's parents."
we had VIP.
Very important parents.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it got to the point where Eric was calling you guys mom and dad for the longest time too, which
We
is
were
really
his
cool.
road parents.
Your road
Oh.
parents.
He did that in the show. Remember that?
Yeah.
He
He looked
pointed-
over.
He had a song where he says "Mom" and
How about you?
and then he
Mhm.
points to us, and the crowd all of a sudden turns around and looks at us, and we get barraged by people thinking we're his parents.
That was at
And
machine
Eric's
shop.
standing there
Yeah.
laughing about it. He knew exactly what he was doing.
Everybody come up to us afterwards.
That was at the machine shop in
Yeah.
Flint, Michigan.
Yep.
Yeah.
I'll never forget that one. That was
Yeah.
Carla's listening. She knows about our hotel room in that one. We
Oh
talked about
yeah.
that before.
How was that hotel room?
Half of it was missing. Talk about Vietnam. It looks like Vietnam ran through that hotel room.
Yes.
One of the coolest things a lot of you guys that follow me have seen pictures of it and everything else. One of the coolest things that I've gotten to do in my entire life, other than getting the guitar and having kids and getting married and all that other good stuff, is we actually got to sit down one time and just us four, my parents and I and Eric Church, and have dinner at Texas
Yeah.
Roadhouse in Indiana. And I haven't really talked about it much on the podcast at all. And one of these days I'll probably do one where I just share a bunch of old stories and stuff. But it was cool because they were doing a contest back then. It was like the top 5 won. I think I'll be picking brown shirts out my butt to the day I die. Because I have so many brown shirts around this house from that year. Because every Carolina CD you bought, you got so many points. And I think I ended up on the day Carolina was released, the local Corinth, Mississippi mail post office went and is missing probably about 20 of their bins because Jillian and I walked out of the house and there's bins of albums and T-shirts and everything out there. So needless to say, we got to have the dinner with church, and it was just phenomenal because it was like I was sitting there with like my older brother, and I don't even remember all the conversations or anything. It was just, I mean, for you guys, I mean, we'll talk about the dinner a little bit. Just like me, I'll sit there.
Well, just a regular dinner.
It was like a family dinner.
Yeah.
I remember meeting his parents
Mhm.
and how his parents said they loved you. They said, we love Aaron. He's great.
And we asked them to trade, but they didn't want to do
Yeah.
that.
And we said, well, we like Eric. It's almost like they're all the same egg. These two guys act so much alike. I think that's why you hit it off,
Yeah.
because
Yeah. Aaron would tell us stories, and I would say that was Aaron. And here I to find out it was Eric.
Yeah, it was always definitely well, it's his songs and everything too. I mean,
Yeah.
I think it was something that we all three of us, well, even Jillian, we just kind of all resonated with, and just kind of it would connected because, like I said, my mom brought me up on the country, my dad brought me up on the rock, and it was like Eric brought both of it, and
Mhm.
I still remember. Was it your first concert, Dad? I think your very first church concert is a show that Eric still talks about to this day, and I think he'll talk about probably until he stops touring. But if you ever Eric talk about Cincinnati, Ohio, 2006, he got to play or open up for Bob Seger on the opening night of the tour. He got to do the whole tour. But my dad and I, the day after Thanksgiving in 2006, we drove up to Cincinnati. Actually, I met them. They were living in Chicago. I was living in Mississippi. We met. And we went to that show, and dude, I'm going to tell you, that was probably one of the coolest church shows I've seen, just because to see those two together and to see like my dad listening to Bob Seger back in the day and me listening to church, and now I'm introducing my dad to church. So it was just really cool to have that. But for you, Dad, I mean, that show, do you remember much about it or how they meshed together, those two?
no, I don't. All I remember is there was a big to-do after the show about something. And I don't know what that was.
They ended up taking my camera. I remember that. Running me down with my camera for a little bit. Trying to take pictures.
I mean, I remember after the show more than anything, because we hung around at this bus.
Mm-hmm.
Now we were waiting for Eric. Is that
Yeah.
who?
We got to meet Eric. We went down by Eric's bus
Did
for a while.
Bob Seger come out then?
Bob Seger walked by us.
Yeah.
He walked by us, but we didn't say anything. I was more like, but I was kind of one of my Hulk Hogan moments where it's, oh shit, that's Bob Seger. I only had that one other time. I almost got to meet Chris Christopherson. It was the same day I met Willie Nelson, and Chris Christopherson walked off his bus, and I kind of froze, and he walked right in front of me and walked right into a door, side stage of Bridgestone Arena. And I've always, still to this day, like my biggest bucket list is I would love to meet Christopherson. I just love to meet this guy, and I had the chance, but I had no words, dude. I had no words at all. And it was like 3 seconds that I had, and I fucked that up. But let's see.
I don't remember. There's a Billy Ray story he didn't tell.
Uh-oh.
I remember, I don't know how old you were, but you had orange or yellow hair.
Oh, God, I forgot about that.
And we were going to see Billy Ray. So your mom and I went over to the bus, and Billy Ray saw us, so he came off to talk to us. And I said, we need your help. And he says, well, what can I do for you? I said, Aaron's got orange hair. And he looked at me, and I said, we need you to say something to him. So he said, okay, I'll take care of it. And then when you come strolling over, I forget exactly what he said, but it was kind of like, next time I see you, you better have brown hair. I'm going to kick your butt. And it came off kind of like that.
There's the picture. I knew that picture was going to show up eventually of all of us having dinner. So if you guys have not seen the picture, it's on the screen now. But that's funny. I forgot about that.
That was
story.
when Eric was having health problems. Remember, he couldn't eat. He had salad that night. We all had,
Yeah.
and we all felt bad. So
Well, we
all-
weren't, and nobody was allowed to say anything. We weren't even allowed to know
No.
at the time because he wasn't allowed to drink. And I forgot what it was, but someone made a comment like, "Dude, there's no alcohol on the table or whatever else."
Yeah.
And yeah, literally, I had rib tips. There's 3 salads and 4 Cokes. And I
Uh-huh.
think I literally just found the bill yesterday, because the waitress printed off and it has his name and his signature on. It was really cool. But our bill was $39 for all 4 of us to eat at Texas Roadhouse. It was $39, and I would think that was with tip.
Probably.
So it was just wild. But like I said, it was just a laid back. It was cool little dinner we had, chill, and just got to talk. I think one waitress recognized who he was and came over and asked if they could take a picture.
Yeah.
And that was the only person that came over to the table the entire time. And I mean, this was probably between Carolina and Chief. So I mean, Carolina was definitely out at this point. I would think, right? I don't know. I forgot what year. Oh no, what year? I'm trying to think. We moved home in
I don't know.
09. No, because you had to work that time when we had the dinner. I remember that.
I remember when Eric got up and left, he left before we did. The guy at the next table said something like, "That guy looked like Eric Church." And he's already gone. But
Yeah, Carla says she made up for it. You guys ever see her picture for her dinner? There's beer bottles and whiskey bottles and shot glasses all over the table. They wouldn't let him get off the hook. They made him drink. This picture we are showing here is old school picture of them waiting in line at Joe's Bar on Weed Street way back in when. So my parents have spent many of hours in Eric Church lines as well, and it was always fun.
I think
man.
we got there at 8:00 in the morning, didn't we?
Either that or earlier,
And it was
I don't know.
cold out.
Well, there's pumpkins on the window, so it was definitely fall.
yeah.
So, but it was good old times waiting at Joe's Bar. Yeah. All right. So our next part, before we wrap things up, we're gonna go ahead and do our pod deck section, a section of the show. Yeah, we'll add that audio in later. I don't even worry about playing it. I'll pipe it in when I added this later. All right, guys. So I pulled 2 cards out of a pod deck earlier, and just some questions I'm going to ask both of you guys. First one, other than me, of course. What do you think you're most proud, or what do you think you're most proud of over your lifetime? Do you have any regrets at all? One of you, first question is do you have any regrets of something you didn't do that you should have done? And what are you most proud of or accomplishment that you've done your entire life that you're like, hey, I did this, or I'm proud of it, but you can't claim me?
You want to go?
Well, regrets, I don't think we really have any.
I got one.
We had to do something the whole life, and we did whatever we did.
Well, we were going to get married before you went into the service, and my mother asked us to wait.
Oh, okay.
But if we would have gotten married, she would have been there. So that was the only regret I had.
When were you guys gonna? When were you gonna get married?
Well, I would have liked to got married before he went overseas, but my mom at the time was a little doubtful because so many people were going to Vietnam and not coming home, and she was a little worried about that because I was only 18 years old. So she asked me if I'd wait, and we waited. But then when we got married, she wasn't there, so it worked out.
It did. It definitely did. She was still there.
Yeah,
She was definitely there. She was definitely there.
She was there.
Something cool that to add before we move on, or before we finish up that so I thought it'd be really cool when we got married. I'm like, oh, I would love to get married in that church, but I knew we couldn't because we had to bring all the family to West Virginia, and no one would ever go all the way over there for it. So we actually ended up getting engaged on the steps of the same church, and my parents got married in. And who else got married in that church? More family members were in that church.
My whole
too.
family, my mom, my dad, my brothers.
So I told Jillian that they were going to do like a write up in a paper or something for my grandma or whatever. I'm like, we got to go into this church and do something. Every damn door was locked, but I run up behind her on one door and everything, and was able to slide in there and kneel down on her knee, or on her toes. But it was kind of cool.
It wasn't quite as smooth as you made it sound.
No, I said kneel down on your toes.
I swooped right in there.
Kneel down on your toes. Yeah.
No, you were
well, I didn't
nervous
think
wreck.
you were gonna. I didn't think you were gonna
I was
skip every
checking-
other stair. You ran up the damn stairs. I had to try to chase your ass.
And I was checking all the doors, and they were all locked. And all of a sudden, I hear this like stumble, and you
fell.
land on my foot.
And then
you're
his cousin
shaking.
almost his cousin
Terry
Yeah, she almost ruined it.
Terry
She
almost
almost
ruined
blew
it
it.
because
she saw me.
we parked in front of the church, and Terry was like, I don't know, a block or two away, and I saw her, but I wasn't quite sure that it was her.
You're trying to holler at her.
And I was like, Terry, is that Terry? And I'm waving, and he's like, no, that's not her. Keep walking. I'm like, oh, okay.
That's funny. So what are you guys most proud of? Like an accomplishment or something that you guys did in the last 70 some years of your lifetime? What are you guys proud of?
Well, starting with nothing and end up with
Well, we got
something.
Like seriously, when you guys came to Chicago, did you come with everything you owned? Money,
Yes.
everything?
I don't even think we even had a suitcase.
We did.
We
did
had
have a
what we were
suitcase.
wearing. That's what we
In your
got.
car.
And we got in the car and started driving.
Yeah.
Did you have
We didn't even know if we was gonna have enough money to live for a month.
did you already have like your apartment down everywhere you were going?
We got
Yeah.
a rented apartment
We
or a
had to-
furnished apartment.
Yeah.
because we had no beds, no furniture, no nothing.
I know you just wanted to get out of West Virginia. You just wanted to
Yeah.
you were done for a while. You need.
I would have. We planned on living there until after the fire, and things just were too hard.
Yeah.
So I said, if we're going to start a new life, we're going to start it in Chicago. We moved to Chicago. Well, even the night of the fire, we talked about Michigan. We were going to go to Michigan, remember?
Yeah, I had a job.
You had a job. Mm-hmm.
That's cool. So what about you, Mom? What are you most proud of?
My family. My family.
They're a family to make you proud. I want to tell you, those Magruders, they're hard-headed, tough, and yeah.
We've made it through a lot.
They have. Yeah, they all have.
I've got 2 brothers that couldn't be any better. They are the best.
Yeah, they're amazing guys. My Uncle Rick, I know we talked a lot about my Uncle Denny. My Uncle Rick, man, he's just as damn cool, if not cooler than my Uncle Denny. I'm going to tell you, if you ever look at West Virginia softball, women's softball, girls softball, this guy is a legend in the state of West Virginia when it comes to softball. Radio shows, TV shows, Rip Magruder is definitely one of the best softball coaches you've ever seen in West Virginia. And that's not a lie.
He's got 9 lives.
Yeah, that's
and
it.
he lives them.
So my next question is kind of a little bit what we've talked about a little bit. I'm going to try to sum it up a little bit since we are a little over. But what's your most treasured memory? And I want one from kind of like I circled this from the decade. So we're going to start off from the 1950s to the 1970s. What's one memory that stands out the most in that 20-year span to you guys that we have not talked about yet?
Mine would probably be when I was 8 years old. I was the kind of kid that tore everything apart to see how it worked. So that's just how I was. And we didn't have much. I was delivering newspapers at 8 years old because we didn't have money coming in, so I had to buy my own clothes and all that stuff. But what we survived on was toast every morning before school. And this one morning I got up, I went and delivered newspapers. I came back and my mom's crying. The toaster was broke. It didn't work. And that was a big, big deal because that was breakfast for us. Mm-hmm. So I thought about that all through school. It bothered me. The toaster don't work. Mom's crying. There's no money to buy a toaster. So I got home from school. My mom was in the basement washing clothes. I grabbed the toaster and took it to my room. I took the whole thing apart. I didn't know anything about electricity, but I figured if I followed this wire on the plug, it should go all the way through the toaster and back out the other wire, which was half right. Well, I found halfway through that one of those little coils inside the toaster was broken and hanging down. So I'm thinking, well, how can electricity get through if it can't get past this wire? And I couldn't hook them back together because they were broken even and you couldn't hook them. So I had to unwind part of one of them so I could twist them together, and I put it back together and the toaster worked. So I took it back to the kitchen. I told my mom I fixed the toaster. Now keep in mind, I'm 8 years old. My mom went crazy. She told everybody. I mean,
your mother was proud of you.
I was surprised it didn't hit the newspaper. I mean, she told everybody, and that's what started me off on the mechanical, I can fix anything that's broke thing. And
when you don't, we get upset because you can fix everything.
Yeah, that is true.
So that's when that started for me. So, but my mom, she made a change in me.
That is awesome. All right, Mom, 50s to 70s. What's one memory you have that we have not talked about?
In 61, my mother was expecting a baby. And I told her she came home from the hospital this time with a boy. I was leaving home. That was when I got my little sister.
Oh, man, that's awesome.
I guess my mother wanted me to stay around.
Yeah, she's like, all right, I guess I got to give her one. All right, we got to do this.
I got my sister.
So the next one I did from the 80s to 90s, so a little bit shorter. So from 1980 to 1999, what's one memory you guys could think about that stands out the most to you? Dad? 1980 to 1999.
Probably you graduating high school, which seemed like a minor miracle to us.
Very major miracle.
No, having him. He was a month overdue. He was due June the 2nd. He wasn't born until June the 29th.
Yeah.
Well, he graduated in 2000.
He was
too,
a
so-
pain then. He's still a pain. No, I'm taking that. I'll take that back.
I thought Dad was going to say about like shooting out my window or something like that and getting a new car out of the deal.
Well,
He told me it was
that.
senior year of high school, and I was driving a 1990 Toyota Tercel, and I did not want to take it to my senior prom because it was a 1990 Toyota Tercel. And he's like, "Well, if anything happens to that car between now and then, between now and prom, we'll get you something." And my buddy Hager and I were out back at his house shooting his BB gun, and something just made me turn around and shoot my window out. Called my dad up and said, "Hey, something happened to my car." He made me drive around with a black garbage bag on my window for 2 weeks. I used to smoke cigarettes. I cut a little hole in there and put like a tape around there. So I had a little window. I couldn't see nothing. It was literally a black garbage bag. And this was 1999. I was driving around everywhere with this thing. And it was like 2 days before prom. I got a 1999 Ford Thunderbird.
95.
95. Okay. It was, my truck was 99 Dodge Dakota. The Thunderbird was a 95 Ford Thunderbird. And
You
I
had
took
a
that.
nicer car than we did.
That was a nice car. The beautiful
V8,
car.
2-door V8. And I'm taking that to my senior prom. But yeah. So I don't get my car out of it. Did you say your memory from 80s to 90s? Or no? No, what's your memory?
Yeah, having you.
No, all right. Well, I'll give you that one. And then last but not least, from 2000 to now, what's one memory that stands out to you guys? Other than anything we talked about or having grandkids.
Oh, come on.
I gotta take that off.
The first grandchild.
Can't be easy. Can't be easy.
I don't think that's fair.
Oh, wait. In 2011, it was a good year. We got a daughter-in-law.
Oh.
Yeah.
Aw, he's like, yeah.
She's like,
I finally had another girl in the house.
So why
What
didn't
was
you
yours?
guys ever have any kids? Or were you guys? I know you miscarried once, right?
Mhm.
Were you just done after the first genius? You didn't need a second? Or?
Oh, yeah, right.
Look at my dad.
Well, they told us we'd never have any. We went to a fertility specialist and we finally got you, but there was never any after that. We wanted more, but
Hey,
we were lucky to have one. So we
Keisha-
called you our miracle.
can y'all imagine two of me?
Oh, God. See these gray hairs?
Yes, I actually can imagine two of you because I have
Yes,
two
you
of
have
them.
one.
Actually, I have three.
Yes.
I have
Yeah.
three children, Shriver children in my home. I know exactly what it's
Yep.
like.
All right. So our next segment, we normally do this with some music behind it. We're not gonna do the music and all that other fun stuff, but it's our hot seat segment. I'm gonna ask you guys a question. First thing that comes to your mind, the first word, you gotta just say the first word that comes to your mind. All right, Dad, we're gonna start with you on this first question. What was the first movie you remember seeing ever?
Wizard of Oz.
All right, Mom.
Oh, God. I remember going with my grandparents. I can't think of the name of it. The Sound of Music.
Ooh, all right.
Sound
All
of
right,
Music.
Mom. What was your first car you ever owned?
That orange one?
The one you hit the insurance adjuster.
What?
Remember, you were in an insurance
Oh.
adjuster.
They always say you marry like your mother.
That was my first accident.
Yeah.
He stopped too fast.
Yo. What was your first car, Dad? Was it the orange one?
Nope. It was the blue one.
It was a 56 Chevy.
Nice. And we currently still have a 1975 Plymouth Duster,
Mhm.
so which is an amazing car. Hopefully, we'll get it out of the garage.
It'll go
one of
to
these days.
Jackson.
All right, Dad. What's the first concert you ever went to?
I think it had to be the Little River Band.
Nice, Mom. Your first concert?
Paul and Paula.
Paul and Paula.
On the island.
On the island. All right. At the
I
casino
was in
or
grade school,
or that's
I
what,
think.
the casino wasn't there.
No, it wasn't
Yeah.
there. It was just by the skating rink.
Was it that old building that burned down?
It was next to that.
Next to that one? Because they used to have concerts in there too. The old
Yeah,
it was like the old building there.
well, this was outside. This was an
Okay.
outdoor concert.
Cool. All right.
Mm.
Dad, what's the strangest thing you've ever seen in the middle of the road?
Maybe a turtle.
How everything we've talked about. Turtle. Okay. Mom, what about you? Strangest thing you've ever came across in the middle of the road?
God, I don't know. Can't think of anything.
I had one guy to tell me when I asked him this question, a naked guy, but then we found out later on he was the naked guy in the middle of the road.
I don't know. I have no idea.
Love you, Ryan Nelson. All right. What was the worst job you ever had, Mom?
I liked my jobs. I only had 3.
Did you ever take a side job or anything that you're just like, I'm done. I can't do
I worked
this?
at Motorola for a while, and I did not like that.
No.
Yeah, I did.
Was
not
that
like
back
it.
here when you moved here?
Yeah.
Okay.
Your dad was going to school, right?
Probably.
Why did I worked part-time? I worked at Dominic's and I worked at Motorola.
Yeah, I was going to school. with
I
him.
think you were going to school, and I took on an extra job so he wouldn't have to work so many hours.
If anybody out there has any questions too for my parents, anything, nothing. I mean, we'll ask them anything. Bill, I
Keep
saw
it
yours.
clean.
We'll put up there. I got 5 more questions I'm going to ask them here, and then we're going to open up to you guys out there in the chat. Anything you guys have, go ahead and put it in the chat now. And then we'll take about 5 minutes here in a second, and we'll ask any questions you guys might have. I'll throw them up on the screen, and we'll put them on there. So get them ready. All right. What's one thing, or Dad, you didn't answer. What was your worst job?
It was probably my first job. I worked for RCA Whirlpool, ran around fixing washing machines and dryers.
For a week.
And it didn't last long because I was a new man on the totem pole. I got the worst truck, and I got the worst area, which was the southwest side of Chicago, which was just too darn scary.
Yeah.
And after a month or so of that, I said, no more of this unless I can move up to a better neighborhood. Well, I'm not too scared to drive. So that was the worst job.
All right. Hey, it ain't too bad. No, it sounds like shit. Was that here? Oh, yeah, you said Southwest
Yeah, I was in
Chicago.
Chicago. Yeah.
Okay. What was your first job you had back home or back in West Virginia, Ohio? You remember your first job you ever had? Like your first, like where you got a paycheck?
My newspaper route. I made
Newspaper.
$5 a week.
Then you worked in
Nice.
Virginia after that, right?
Well, I worked for a gas station in Virginia.
But that was interesting.
I worked on a naval base in the gas station, and the guys go out for like 3 months at a time on the ships. So as soon as they go out, the wives start coming in to the gas station. So they've been out for a while now, and I'd have a line of 20, 30 cars and be women in their nightgowns, sometimes not even nightgowns. And that was
Fur
when,
coats.
that was when you washed the windshield for
So
It
that
took
was
him an hour to do the
that was
windshield.
full service. Okay.
that was a full service job.
Don't want to know what's going on out back. No.
I can remember a woman that came in with a Volkswagen said she needed a battery. So I said, well, I got to check it. The battery in the Volkswagen's under the back seat. I climbed in the car. Volkswagen's not very big. Trying to get the battery out, and all of a sudden she's climbing in too.
I saw where that's where I was going.
So I could barely get squeezed out the other side of the car. And my manager standing there laughing his butt off because
Well, you were
those
what,
things
18?
happened all the time there.
Oh, that was
She didn't need a
hilarious.
battery. She needed something else.
Oh boy, this is awesome. What's one thing, Mom, that people buy you think is a waste of money?
God. You really put me on the spot.
First thing I think comes to your mind.
I can't think of anything.
Dad, what about you?
Oh,
Something that
God.
people buy you think is a total waste of money.
Shoe polish.
All right, I can see that. Well, if you're
You
going
don't polish
somewhere,
your
What would you use it for?
Yeah.
all right. Yeah, it has other uses, I guess. So, Mom, you think of anything?
No.
Nothing.
No.
All right. What's your least favorite chore, Mom?
cleaning anymore.
How about you, Dad? Your least favorite chore?
Cutting the grass.
I knew you were going there. I knew that was coming because that's turned into mine real fast. What's the oldest item you own, Mom? Oldest item you own currently?
Since we got married or before?
It's just the oldest item that you currently own. You at your house that you have to your name.
Probably my class ring's the only thing I had left. So that's got to be it.
Dad, what about you?
Yeah, it's got to be our wedding bands.
All right.
That's got to be it.
All right.
Yeah, because everything else was in the fire. All your stuff was in there too.
I'm going to ask you this one first, Mom, because I'm sure Dad probably has a good story to go with this next question. So the next two questions might be a little bit longer answers. We'll see. What should you have been arrested for, but you got away with?
I never did anything.
Well, what was borderline where you could have probably got arrested for it, but you got away with it?
Oh my God. There was nothing. Nothing at all.
I'm going to dig up some dirt. I'm going to find something.
You can talk to everybody in West Virginia.
All right, Dad. What should you have been arrested for, but you got away with?
I'd have to say it's probably speeding at some time.
Stealing a watermelon.
I didn't get arrested for taking.
I said you should.
And what did you do with that watermelon?
Him and his friends were. There was what, 5 of you?
They
stole a watermelon and went in the back alley and ate it.
Oh, you ate it. All right. At least you ate it and didn't do anything with it. All right, and
so did you stick it under your shirt and like waddle out with it? Like how
they were kept outside.
I'm just curious.
Snatch and grab. It has to be snatch and grab. Right? Snatch and grab. Just like, hey, we're gonna grab and run.
I guess so.
He's like, I guess so. I don't know.
Oh, wait a minute. One night the police did bring you home.
Ooh.
Remember?
Is that the watermelon night?
No, the night that Rick's parents was having a party. And the police took him home, and you guys were all together that night. I don't know why they brought you home, but
I don't remember either.
You don't remember Rick's house?
I remember his house, but I don't know why they brought us home.
Yeah, I don't remember that.
They were just raising hell in the alley or something, making noise.
All right, Dad. So you were born in 47. Mom, you were born in 49.
Yep.
So you've done a lot of stuff. You guys accomplished a lot of things. You've seen a lot of cool stuff and everything else. What's something that's still on your bucket list? What's something that you still want to see, do?
Get a honeymoon. No.
Well, I don't have a bucket list, so there's
I don't
nothing.
either.
Well, if you had to pick something that you like, I got to do that before.
He wants to get his car fixed.
Okay.
His
That's a good
75
one.
Dust.
That's good. Yeah.
That's going to be the next on the list.
Okay. What about for you?
Getting his car fixed for him.
That is funny. All right. All right, guys. Let's see. Any questions you guys have for him? We're going to take, like I said, take a couple minutes before we move on. I think we do have a couple guests that are upstairs that want to come down here in a minute. So I'm going to run back here and look at Bill's. If you want to go ahead and, yeah.
Yeah, they'll be upset if you don't let
All right. What was your first concert? We've already answered that. And then Bill wanted to know what you thought about my obsession with Eric Church.
You're crazy.
The first concert both of us went to?
No, my obsession. Yeah, you already talked about your first concert,
What
but
we
he was
think of him with Eric Church.
my Eric Church obsession.
Oh, I think you're crazy.
Yep. But he's a nice guy. So
y'all had fun.
Yeah, we did. We had fun as a family.
If you guys have anything else in the chat, go ahead and put them up there. If not, we're gonna wrap up with this last question from John. What made you the most proud of me? Let's see.
Okay.
They're gonna think about this long.
I guess what we're doing right now, being able to pull something like this off.
Yeah.
I couldn't do it.
This is fun.
Yeah. And help him with his grandparents. He did. He helped a lot with his grandparents. Oh.
There you go, Carla. That's a good one. So if you guys don't know, this basement here, my dad and I, we started remodeling it together.
Oh, good.
And then halfway through or so, you end up having a heart attack. So there's a lot of blood, sweat, and tears in this basement for sure. What was your favorite thing, or what's your favorite thing in this basement? So down here.
He's glad it's done.
And then her other question was, what part of the basement drove you nuts to build? So
What part of the basement? What?
Drove you nuts to build?
What drove you nuts down here to build? And what's your favorite part of down here? And granted, this is where they sleep too. So this is kind of their house.
So there's another surprise first.
Uh-oh. What's this? Hey guys.
What is today, guys?
What's going on here? Aw, thank you. Aw. So I guess I had a little surprise tonight. I didn't know about all this. Thanks, guys.
Are you guys ready? All right, Avery, are you ready?
All
right. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Daddy. Happy birthday to you.
And many more.
You said I don't smell like a monkey, right?
Where you at, Jax?
Oh, yeah. All right. So, let's see. I'm trying. Oh yeah, they think I'm crazy, but yes, I definitely got it from my mom because that whole Billy Ray thing was definitely what got me in on Eric. And yes, they were the ones that drove me everywhere and took me around to see Billy Ray all the time. So I did get it from them.
I love you.
All right, guys. Well, this is awesome. I had a great time tonight, hanging out with you guys and having pretty much introducing you guys to my parents and having them all in and. But thank you guys. If you guys hung on this long, thank you so much for all the birthday wishes and everything, guys. I'm going to get on Facebook here later on tonight, and I'm going to try to personally thank everybody. I know my phone's been blowing up today. I've been trying to reply to all the text messages as fast as I can and everything else. It's been a long day trying to get ready for the show and everything else. I'm going to go enjoy it for a little bit. But yeah, thank you guys for joining us on episode 90. It's crazy. We got 10 more weeks until the big 100. We're going to be announcing it very soon, what we are doing, but I am going to go ahead and just say it right now. I am hosting Revival on September 7th in Nashville, Tennessee. So come on out. Our 100th episode is a Revival takeover. So we are going to be at the Tin Roof in Nashville, all of us. I don't know if the kids are going to be there, but Jillian, my parents, and we're going to come down. But yes, many great artists are going to be playing that night live in person. Pretty much anybody you've seen on the show has been invited. The only rule is that you had to been on the show to play that night. So we're going to have a lot of cool artists, and it's going to be a lot of fun. The lineup and everything's going to be coming out very soon. St. Jude is a sponsor of the event. They're going to be part of it. All the money raised that night is going to St. Jude. It's going to be an amazing time. So if you could get to Nashville September 7th, there's the announcement. We're taking over Revival. Jonathan Singleton, Ray Fulcher headlining it. So you guys got that early. I'll tell you that. So it's going to be a great night. Yeah. Other than that, I don't know. Anything else?
Sorry, I had to unmute everybody.
Well, I wanted to drop that. So anybody that's watching gets that little bonus tonight.
No, it's been a good show. I'm glad we got to do this and we were all together and you let us invade your show for a little while.
It was fun. I had a great time.
The boys were excited. They wanted to do that.
They wanted to
surprise you.
No, I had a blast with them. I had a blast. All right, guys. We're going to sign you guys off. Mom, Dad.
Bye.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks. Bye.
All right, guys. And before we roll off and we go off to our thing, I was watching something cool on YouTube earlier. If you guys didn't see, Conan signed off last week for it, but he ended his show the same way I kind of want to end mine tonight and just say something. But he said it's not easy to do, and it never is easy to do. But if you could try and you do what you love with people you love, if you can imagine that, that's the best you're gonna get for heaven on earth. And I'm gonna tell you, I'm living it right here. So I have everybody with me that I love, and yeah, you got to do that. Live life with the people you love and do what you love. And honestly, you'll love your life and you'll enjoy it. So thank you guys again for tuning in tonight, and we'll see you guys next week. It's gonna be another great week.
Bye.
The Gainin Fast on Memphis podcast with Aaron Shriver is brought to you by Arlo Revolution. As we close the book on another chapter, remember, music gives a soul to the universe, wings to the mind, flight to the imagination, and life to everything. Next week, Aaron connects more melodies and memories with other fans and the artists they love. Thanks for being a part of this musical journey, and we'll see you next time on the Gainin' Fast on Memphis podcast with Aaron Shriver.